Texas.
Mr. Secretary, I'd like to follow up a little bit on the chairman's previous question. If the lender, even through foreclosure, is bound by a previous set of circumstances and has a very limited amount of discretion in what the lender can do with the property once the foreclosure takes place, doesn't that significantly reduce the number of potential buyers for the property? And doesn't it potentially restrict the pool, the borrowing, to where the lenders, with the prospect of not having the freedom once they get the property back to dispose of it in the way they normally would, won't that limit the borrowers, or am I misunderstanding?
I think it's very important that we are clear with any lenders or any other investors in the property. There would be tax credit equity that would come into these properties. We have long experience now with affordable housing, and lenders do as well, with those types of restrictions. So to be very clear, I think it is, there is a large market for lending on these properties that's developed already, and lenders are well understand the restrictions as they go into these deals, and there are a pool of buyers that would be available, but they will be required to preserve this housing as affordable going forward should we get to that foreclosure situation. So would it restrict the buyers somewhat? Yes, but that's a restriction that we believe is important to ensure that the property continues as affordable housing, and there is a broad market for lending for these types of properties already that could be tapped given those restrictions.
Well, in most of the syndicated programs that I've seen, most of the tax benefits are stripped out of the units in the early years, and the tax credits are separated away from the unit, and then usually there are investors that take the benefits of those tax credits, so that when you get into the mid to later stages of the financing, the repayment, and you get the property back, would you then propose that when it was resold by the lender that the tax credits would be reconstituted?
There are a number of ways to handle a situation like that where it's late in the compliance periods. Typically, states are requiring at least 30 years, but typically much longer use restrictions already. And so we see those situations come up where those properties can be recapitalized. Sometimes new tax credits may be necessary for the next generation of repairs to the property, but in many cases, other types of financing debt or other forms of assistance, whether it be home or CDBG funding from HUD or other sources, are available. So that is one option that you described, but it's not the only option available. And again, this is something that we see happening with all new affordable housing that's developed through the low-income housing tax credit already.
And my second question, if this program is mandatory and you have a significant number of people that choose not to convert, you will then be required to continue to operate two separate programs. And so whatever consolidation savings you thought you were going to get, are you going to really be able to realize them with having to operate now instead of one program, another program?
We believe that there will be significant savings even from the first year in terms of, I talked earlier about many of our orphan programs that are quite small programs today that don't have any option for preservation today. We believe there will be very strong participation, even on a voluntary basis, that will allow us to streamline a number of the programs very quickly. In the longer run, we believe that we need to demonstrate the effectiveness of this conversion process. We're proposing a first year, and that we should come back to Congress to discuss whether other properties in future years would be required to convert. rather than making a decision today on that. But in the long run, we believe there is the potential, if we get this right, to bring all the programs together and achieve the full benefits of that consolidation. We believe there will be the benefits in the early years, but the full benefits would come in later years with further legislation from Congress.
Thank you.
The gentlewoman from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.